got Andrea Lee back here on the program. Who's going to be taking on Cynthia Calvillo at UFC Fight Night on November 13th. Andrea, how's it going?
It's great. Everything's going well. You know, the fight's next weekend. I'm feeling good.
Yeah. Was it much of an adjustment going from Jessica I to Cynthia Calvillo in terms of the game plan and all that?
Not too much. Maybe just a little bit, but not a whole lot.
Okay. Your last fight was in May. This fight, we're talking about a fight in November. Was this the right amount of time off, or are you hoping to get in there a little bit sooner?
I was hoping to get in there a little bit sooner, but I guess it was the right amount of time off. But you know, I would like to try and be more consistent and fight more often if I could, or if I can. But
okay.
I like having the time between too.
Interesting. And correct me if I'm wrong. I know you did a bit of training in Vegas with Jim West and all that. Have you and Cynthia ever trained together? I didn't think so, but I always have to ask because you never know. Vegas is always a small place, so to speak.
We've never trained together. We have hung out before in Vegas, but we've never gotten the opportunity to train with each other.
Okay.
We were going to set something up a while back, but then she got injured and that never happened. So, you know, I guess it's a good thing, but I like Cynthia a lot. I think she's a really cool person and I love her fighting style. And, you know, I think this is going to be it should be an exciting fight.
Oh, I completely agree. Don't sell yourself short. I think this could be fight of the night. I think it's going to be awesome. You know, one of the things when Cynthia moved up to 125, did you kind of have an idea this fight would take place? Like, does that make it a bit easier fighting someone like that you're kind of familiar with as opposed to, say, I don't know, like a Contender Series fighter or something?
Yeah, I guess because I've seen her fight and I'm familiar with her. I'm familiar with her style. And Tony's style is pretty similar too, so I think that helps out a lot as well. And they've trained before, so they have that Dwayne Lubbock style kind of like drilled into him. And he's my only sparring partner. Well, right now I have some girls here in training with me, but I mean, like, for the majority of my training, it's been just Tony. But yeah, I think that because I'm familiar with her, I think maybe, yeah, it's a little bit better than having somebody just straight off the Contender Series. But you never know.
As you're mentioning Tony, as in your boyfriend, Tony Kelly, who's also got a big fight booked coming up here against Randy Costa. How has that been with both of you having fight? I mean, you're fighting next week, but he's fighting pretty soon as well. Does that make it easier in some ways, or is it a bit tougher because he's got to focus on his fight as well?
You know, I think because our fights, like, it's perfectly spaced out, I think, and it's allowing him to be able to get the training that he needs. And right now he's not in that. I mean, he's getting to work, he's getting to push, but it's like once I fight, he'll be able to focus on just himself, and he'll be able to like cap the rest of his camp off, you know, with everything that he needs. And right now, I think it's pretty good. He's really excited about, you know, helping me prepare, and you know, I've kind of like let him kind of take the reins and help me out more so in this camp than I have before in my past couple of fights, you know, because I decided to stay home. I decided not to travel out to California or Colorado, and we've just been making it all happen right here at our house and at our local gym. So, you know, We also brought girls in, and so we're getting what we need.
Okay, that's good. What was the reason for that decision of just staying home as opposed to going to California?
Traveling. I just, you know, we decided we weren't going to fly. There's a whole lot of stipulations and stuff lately that surrounding flights, and we just don't want to deal with all of that. So we were going to drive, and the thought of all of the things that we were planning on doing to driving was just already wearing me out. It was draining me. I was like, oh my God. So we're going to drive to Orange County because we were planning on going out there and training with Tyler Wombles and some of his people out there. And then we were going to go from there. I think we were going to go to Arizona first, and then we were going to go to Orange County, and then we were going to go to MMA Gold. And then I was just like already worn out just thinking about it. I was like, let me just stay home. I don't want to worry about my diet and eating on the road, and we're gonna drive to Las Vegas for my fight. So like we were just gonna have to like turn right back around and get back on and drive back up to Vegas, and I was like, I don't want to do none of that. I don't want to drive to Cali and then back to Vegas and then back. I'm like, no, don't want to do that.
Okay. Well, that makes sense for sure. So who have you had an opportunity to work with back home? We mentioned Tony. Who are some of the other fighters you've had a chance to work with for this camp?
My friend Andy, my old training partner Andy came in. She came in and helped me,
Nice.
and she brought in a girl who's about Cynthia's size. And she's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, and she has similar style takedowns, and she moves around. I mean, she's not like, I'm not saying she's just like Cynthia or anything like that, but it helps a lot. The same height and similar style, and again, she's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu on the ground, and then we have another girl who's got like a judo Muay Thai background who's working with me, and I think that the mix is pretty good.
It's great. I know you worked with Jim West leading into the last fight at MMA Gold. Are you still in touch with him? Like, is he still a part of this camp, or is it just strictly everything at home?
No, Jim's going to be in my corner. He's going to be there. Yeah, we've been keeping him in the loop. So he'll be there.
Okay, that's good. I got to bring him up, obviously, because, I know him pretty well. I know he coaches you. There's a lot of blowback from that Aspen Ladd fight. I think a lot of it kind of unfairly. As someone who works with Jim and his sort of the way he goes about his cornering advice, what did you think of the way people kind of reacted to that whole situation with Aspen losing her fight against Norma Dumont?
I think they're overreacting, because I don't think that the way that he was talking to her was really that harsh. I mean, he was just encouraging her and trying to get her to, step it up. And I think that he, because they have a different relationship, than other, just coaches and their fighters. And I don't think that I've seen a lot worse, I mean, he wasn't bad at all. I don't understand it. I mean, like, I just feel like he was, he knew what he needed to do to kind of get in her head. And I think it did help, because there in that last round, she did pick it up. But, sometimes we need a fire lit under our butts, And
Yeah.
I don't think that he did anything wrong. I don't think that he was, what are they saying? That he was like, that he's abusive?
A little bit. Well, I think part of it as well, and maybe you agree with me here, but do you think because it's a male to female dynamic, like if he had said that to Max Griffin or one of the other fighters that he coaches, I don't think people are making a big deal. The other thing is, if Aspen won, which is she did in the Kunitsakaya fight, I don't think people are talking about it either. Do you think those are two factors as well that kind of made people think of this a little bit differently?
That's what I think, because like he was a lot harder on her in the Kunitskaya fight than he was in this one. I mean, the way that he handled that situation in that fight, I mean, he really lit a fire under her. She went out there, she got the knockout, and then everybody praised him for it. But then in this fight, it was like he tried, I mean, he basically did the same thing, but I really think that he was maybe more harsh in the Kunitskaya fight than he was in this one. But yeah, if she had gone out there and knocked her opponent out, then I think everybody would be praising him for it too. Just the same, everybody's got an opinion, and, they don't really matter.
Yeah. You mentioned Jim. Tony will be in your corner as well, or who else will be in the cage with you that night?
Tony, and then I'm going to have my Grandmaster Baker. He's been with me since the beginning as well. And then I'm going to have Jim West.
That's awesome. And weight cut, I imagine that's going well. You said you're at home, not having to travel, so probably a little bit easier.
Yeah, my weight cut's actually really good. I've been waking up consistently at 137. So, I mean, I guess to some, I'm pretty light.
There you go. And how do you envision this fight playing on November 13th? Cynthia's tough to finish, so that's one thing I'm sure you're keeping in the back of your head, just going into a big fight like this.
Yeah. Cynthia is very tough to finish. So, I mean, I'm not sure how it's going to play out, as far as finishing, but I would, I'm going to try to keep it out of the hands of the judges, That's my plan. Keep it from the hands of the judges.
As far as your fight contract and all that, how many more fights do you have left on your deal? Do you know?
I get
a couple, right?
I can renegotiate after this fight, but
oh, interesting. Okay.
think,
So two left probably, right?
I believe I have 2. Yeah.
Okay. Well, does that add a little bit more, just knowing, if you go out there and get this big win over someone like Cynthia, who's, coming off a loss herself, does that, I mean, that's got to feel good knowing that you can renegotiate and kind of say, hey, look, I'm coming off a win here.
Yeah, it's a big incentive, and that's what I'm keeping in the back of my mind, as a push, because I want to go out there and I want to be impressive, and I want to get a win, and I want to be able to, renegotiate for more.
Yeah, who wouldn't? And I imagine the plan is, if all goes well, you do win, probably staying with the UFC, right? Seems like you're pretty happy with them.
Oh yeah, yes, most definitely. Best organization in the world.
There you go. Got to hear it there. Before we go, I didn't catch the whole thing, but I caught some of, you were on one of my favorite podcasts, Sex and Violence with Ashley Evans Smith. I just got to ask, how was it going and doing like a different interview where you kind of get a little bit personal, right? And Ashley's so good at her job that she's able to get, make her guests feel at ease. So how was that for you?
It was good because we had like a little, we had a phone call before the podcast. So we go over, like what we can talk about or what I'm comfortable with, what I'm not comfortable with, and she kind of like gave me like a little outline of the things that she was going to ask. So I was kind of prepared, and I think that it went well. I don't feel like it was too invasive. I mean, yeah, there was some things, that I was a little nervous about.
Right.
We might have talked about a few things that, you wouldn't typically get me to say, but for the most part, I think it was rated PG. Well, I wouldn't say PG.
PG-13, I think is what they used to call it. Yeah, or something like that. No, but I give you credit because I know you do put yourself out there and stuff, and I know like you do the calendars and all that. But I remember you even telling me when you did the calendar, I think you had a few drinks, right? Because it's not like something you're totally comfortable in. So I thought it was cool that you went on there and kind of put yourself out there in that light and kind of get fans knowing you in a different light, not just the fighter, but also some other your personal side of things, right?
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, it wasn't too invasive, and there was some fun, some jokes and stuff like that, that were made. But yeah, it kind of just a different side, I guess.
Yeah. No, I thought you came across great. It was good.
Ashley's really good. She's really good at doing what she's doing, and I'm really, and it wasn't weird, because like we fought before and stuff, so it wasn't weird or anything like I guess some fans would think.
Yeah. Well, and she's so good at her job. Plus she's a woman. Let's get real here. Like I can't ask those questions because there's going to be a different, people think differently, right? With her, she's actually genuinely curious about things, right? So comes across really well in the interview.
Yeah.
So just wanted to give her a shout out because again, I think she's doing an awesome job. She's like the Howard Stern of our industry. I think she's done a very good job with that. So
I think she has too.
There you go. And this is an awesome fight. UFC Fight Night, November 13th. Andrea, appreciate the time. I know you're busy. Anyone you want to thank? Any sponsors? Any social media? I'll give you the last word.
Tony, Grandmaster, and Jim, everybody that's come out to help me train. I do have a sponsor, e-commerce. Nobody's gonna.
Probably putting it on your social media though, right? They can see it on there. So there you go.
It's they're out of Lafayette, Louisiana, and they sponsored me for this fight. It helped me out a lot, so I really appreciate that. And of course, Healing Panda, who's always there. And then of course, oh, I'm sorry, Bottle Brew Coffee. Yeah, of course, Bottle Brew Coffee. My brain's like going blank there at the end, but yes, thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.